What's up YouTube, Dal here from Zephyr, and today I'm bringing you my first place Scareclaw profile from locals. That's right, this deck went 4 rounds of Swiss undefeated. It went up against a random Nimbler deck, round 1. Round 2 it ended up going against Exo Sisters, which is pretty good game to be fair. It then went up against Trains round 3 because just no one was expecting these giant machine boss monsters. And then round 4 was Pearly. So all really good duels actually, to be fair, and considering this is like the first time I was playing this version of the deck, it was really kind of nice to play around with it and change it up. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell and subscribe so you do not miss out on any more upcoming content. So of course with the Scareclaw monsters you start off with triple Rykart, triple Acro, triple Astra, and triple Belong. I think if you're trying to play like pure Scareclaw and you're playing these at any less, it can get a little bit risky. The fact of the matter is technically each of these are 1 card combos, so you want to be able to max it out on them as at all possible. I did consider playing the Prisma engine, and the issue I had with the Prisma engine is that right at the last minute I was like, oh holy crap, this clashes with Fenrir. And sometimes it's just not until you put it into practice you're like, yeah, this does cause quite a bit of an issue. So if anything, looking back on this, I'd probably want to play more Visas for the pure, for like more Starfrosts, because like when I saw Starfrost it was great. I was like, okay cool, I'm going to do Baron combo, or I'm going to do Bestial Dispatter combo, which is really kind of cool. But more times than not I was just going into the Tri-Heart combo, and that is enough to do it, so why wouldn't you want to max out on the potential to get to it? Of course, we were playing 2 Scareclaw Cash, triple Fenrir, pretty standard on that one. For the hand traps, I went with double Ash Blossom, double Ghost Ogre, yikes, I know, crazy, right? And double Nibiru in the main. Now, technically, any of these could become 3-ofs and you just cut one of the others. The reason I decided to play Ghost Ogre is I was like, okay, again, sometimes in a format where a card like this has been missing for so long, or like a lot of people forget what it does, people are not prepared to have their effect resolve, but the card get destroyed. So there's a lot of kind of, like for example, Lightheart. If I was to go, okay cool, Lightheart, search out Rykart, well I've already used my normal summon, search out the field spell, my opponent chained Ghost Ogre, like I'm slightly prepared for Lightheart to be negated, because as long as it stays on the field I can still extend and special. But if they destroy it, I'm like, okay, not sure where to go. So I thought Ghost Ogre would be a really kind of cool option. And I was like, oh, Exorcist, this would be really great. And the one time I saw it, it was like, D-Shifter. I was like, bro. So yeah, I didn't see it when I wanted to see it, but it's still something I'll continue to tweak with and see how it goes. The last of the 2 hand traps is 2 Bestials, so 1 Magnum, 1 Druid Swarm. As you can imagine from my matchups, like Exorcist, they just kept banishing all their stuff anyway, so it was pretty useless for that. In the Pearly matchup was the only matchup they actually used it in, but you know, would I still keep them in? I'm not too sure. Like, they're really good to have in the right format. Like, the local had, so there was, I think, 2 Pearlies, there was Dark Worlds, there was Tier Elements, which I was expecting to end up facing. So I was kind of like prepared for those, really. Moving on to the spells, of course, we have 2 Reichphobia, 2 Arrival, pretty standard on this one. 2 Eclipse, this card was like MVP, like put in so much work, because the decks that I was up against, so when I used it against Trains, it really caused them issues, because it was like stopping them going to XYZ, stopping them extending any further. Yes, they got the draws, but they weren't really drawing anything, because of the way the Trains were built, it was built to go second. So I was like, okay, well, anything in the end phase they draw is only going to be able to break my board the next turn, so I have to try and win the next turn. And more times than not, that's what happened. What I liked about the Eclipse is, again, the pure fact that I could use it going my turn, and then use it during my opponent's turn. I used it against the Purdy player quite a lot, and I learnt a lot on that one, because I was trying to stop the draws. I was trying to stop them constantly getting draws. So the first time I activated it, it Book of Moon one of their monsters, and the other one went into Pearly Noir, so it was unaffected. But then in game 3, it actually came in quite well, because I was like, right, okay, I know what's going to happen here. I'm going to force the Pearly Noir. Even though they're going to get to Noir and be protected, the other one that negates my monster effects, I can flip that face down and then continue to go combo. So I was able to go Book of Eclipse, Dark Hole, which worked out gloriously. So I really did like it. 2 Spin Droplet, I think I saw it like once. So 1 Instant Fusion. When you see it, great. If you don't see it, eh. Rotor and then the Defanging. Pretty standard on that one. Triple Imperm, and then the one Twin Sword. Really like Twin Sword. I kind of want to put Clash in here. I probably should have had it in the side deck, but I didn't have it with me at the time. So I decided not to put it in there. But it's definitely something to look into. I didn't face any droplets or dark rulers, which was quite lucky. Yeah, just putting this work. So before I go to the extra deck, I'll show you the side deck. So the side deck for the local environment was Children and Lockbird. I went with quite a heavy Ghost Second like lineup. So I went with double Frosts, double Evenlies, 1 D Barrier, 1 Lightning Storm, Duster, Talents, Dark Hole, MVP, Herald of the Abyss, and then 2 Cosmic Cyclones. So Herald of the Abyss I never saw, but Dark Hole, I think I used it like 3 or 4 times throughout the entire night. One was off of Frost, and then the other ones was just opening it up. So good, so good. And that's what made it so good, was the fact that, like, even if my opponent, like, obviously you'd want to special summon down Fenrir. But if you special Fenrir, use the effect to search, and it goes through, and then they're like, right, okay, I'm now going to start interrupting you, or I'm going to try and disrupt it before your Fenrir can start triggering. You go, okay, cool. Dark Hole. Clear everything off and go again. Like, they'll usually wait for you to put a monster on the board, and they're like, okay, cool, now I'm clear, I'm not worried about the Fenrir that's in the hand. I'm going to be able to get rid of it and then not worry. So, yeah, Dark Hole was really good. Moving on to the extra deck. So, obviously, the extra deck is, I wouldn't say it's cookie cutter, because I think it does give you the ability to be quite flexible, which is nice. But I finally learned the lesson of playing free Lightheart. So, free Lightheart. Where did I learn the lesson of playing free Lightheart? Well, very simply, in one of the games, I'd opened up Reichphobia. So I summoned out to the Lightheart. So I think it's like Reichphobia, Reichheart, and then Belong and Astra, something like that. So I was like, okay, normal summon out Lightheart. And I knew my opponent had a negate on the board, and they were going to try and pop it. I think it was like Zeus. I think they had Zeus or something. And I had the Monster Reborn. So I was like, okay, cool, go into Lightheart. I'm not going to use Lightheart's effect on this one. Attempt to get into a position where my opponent feels threatened, where they have to Zeus. So they Zeus the board. And I was like, okay, cool. Arrival, Lightheart sets out the field spell, Reichphobia, activate the effect, and off I went. And it kind of obviously gave me a follow-up as well. So there was times where, like, using Lightheart's effect or saving it for the 3rd copy was really worth it. More times than not, you can technically play 2 if you're trying to really tighten out the extra deck. But I'll show you what else I've got and then explain what I might or may not change. IP Masquerena, that could definitely change. So I put this in the build for the play of either going into Apology during my opponent's turn, using Draco Sack, something like that, but I didn't have Draco Sack, so technically IP can be cut completely. I went with the Earth Charmer just because I was like, you know what, I think there's going to be loads of Fenrirs running around now because of the Megatins, and ironically the only time I used it was against Trains, and I was like, okay, I'll take your Derricrane. Cross Sheep, so good. The amount of times that I had Baron and then Visas Astrolabe, so like all my monsters were buffed by 700, and I revived from the graveyard was very, very nice. And then triple Triheart. So Triheart is of course your Mac Daddy boss monster. So good. The fact that he's unaffected by your opponent's activated monster effects while they're on defense is insane, and the fact he shifts them all to defense. Of course, he does need the backup from the rest of the Scareclaws in the form of Belong, Astra, and Acro to give him that additional piercing, multiple attacks, and of course, attack stat boost. But he's still such an incredibly powerful monster, and shifting everything to defense will cause your opponent a lot of issues. The last Link monster, or the penultimate Link monster, was Access Code, so I borrowed this off of Kyron, so shout out to Kyron for that one. Access Code actually came up a couple of times, which was really nice. Appaloosa for the defensive option, and then for the Synchros we've got the 1 Baron and the 1 Bestial Dispatter. Now, I'm just going to try and find the comment on one of the YouTube videos. I probably should have had this pre-prepped, but the Bestial Dispatter was a suggestion from someone online. So this is Midoku9261, and he said that he liked to play Dispatter instead of Baron, and I was like, thinking about this, I was like, hang on a minute. Technically, if you were to play your Dispatter, you can end your board. You won't be able to protect through Nibiru, mind you, but you could end your board on Baron and a Dispatter, giving you 2 forms of interruption. Yes, they'll be in defense, but you'd still have them followed up, and then all you need to do is link off your Triheart the next turn if you want to switch these to attack. Last 2 cards was Millenniumized Restrict and your Visas Astrolabe. Astrolabe, such a good card. Really, really do like it. Millenniumize is with Instant Fusion, so if you cut Instant Fusion, you can cut that. So technically, there's probably like, if you're like, oh, I really want to fit in Cerberus or Unicorn or something along those lines, then IP 1 light heart, and then Millennium Eyes are the 3 you could consider cutting. So that's it for the profile. If you do have any questions, by all means, please put them in the comments down below. I will be more than happy to answer them for you. The deck is very, very fun. You can build it on a tidy budget. Heck, if you got in there early, you could build it on a tidier budget without having to pay extraordinary amounts for the Fenris. On top of that as well, Baron is due to be reprinted in November, so it does get a little bit cheaper for all of you players out there as well. So keep an eye on it to go from there. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, as absolutely always, stay safe and of course, happy dueling.